And welcome back to another episode of Going Corn. This is going to be Season 2, Episode 3. We're back with another episode. Lots of fun stuff to get to tonight. First, I'd like to introduce my co-host, as always, Caleb Youngman. How are we doing tonight?
Well, better than you, after I heard what happened today. Wasn't I-57 kind of nice to you today, or
would
what?
You just stop with that?
Come on. So he leaves at 12:30. Supposed to be by me at 4:30. He is stuck on I-57 for 5.5 hours. Greg, talk to me about that.
Well, I mean, yeah, traffic just was awful. And you know, it was crazy. I was like, a place that usually takes me less than 35 minutes to get to from Carbondale, like, took me over an hour and a half to get there.
Not surprising. It was a rough day.
And there's no like traffic, there's no accidents, there's no cops. It was just some reason we stopped.
It was backed up. So that put the podcast on a little delay, but like Greg said, we've got a lot of fun stuff for you tonight.
And I'm glad we waited till now to do this because we have a lot of stuff to talk about today.
Oh my gosh.
If we would have done this a week earlier, we would have had not as much.
Oh, yeah, because we were planning on doing it, and then...
And Caleb got us a great guest. One of his teammates, his number 3 overall pick, James Haworth. You'll hear him in the second half of the show. So let's get right into it. So we got some golf outing news for you real quick. So Caleb, go ahead. You were the person that set most of this up. So
yeah, as we kind of put it into review, what we were going to do this year, we looked at Oak Knoll, and Dawn's been good to us. Like, there's no doubt about that. But
yes, thanks to her.
Yes, but as our league continues to grow, we look to continue to improve, and we thought as a board we could do better than Knoll. So I kind of took the lead on that. And I put a quote out to a bunch of places saying, you know, the amount we're looking for, all this other stuff, and came back with a few really, really nice offers. Right now, it's between 3 different golf courses: Cardinal Creek, Summer Tree, and Knoll. We kind of have Knoll on the back burner. That one's probably not going to work out. So it's between Summer Tree and Cardinal Creek. We're going to decide on those 2. The board's going to have some conversation about that. But we do know everything that's going to entail because we have matching offers. So full lunch. So this year, hot dog, chips, and a drink ticket. Payment is going to be $50 a person, but... through paying, you automatically get entered into 4 $50 drawings. Prizes are going to include, that could be 4 free rounds of golf towels, hats, gloves, golf balls, and Leroy gear.
So maybe some of those sweet shirts.
Yes, exactly what we're talking about. And just the course is going to be majorly upgraded. So we're gonna talk about it as a board, but I put a lot of work into it, and I think our golf outing is going to be very, very upgraded this year.
Yeah, and that's kind of the price difference too. We're paying a little bit more, but I think that was kind of a complaint, was it wasn't run as well as we could have, and now that we're having more people come to this, we need to have a few more, upgrades to it, and a better course, and that's also going to be a little bit more money. I mean, some of these other golf, like, if you talk to parents and stuff, my mom went to one, it was like $200 a pop for each person, like, so I mean, it's still a reasonably priced thing, I think, for once a year to ask for that. And and this year we're doing all the drawings you're already in for.
Entered in, right. And that's the thing, too. I mean, understanding the concept behind these events, we don't do these events to try and, force stuff down your throat. I mean, Leroy's a free league, so... This is one of the few ways we're able to make money and to put out a good product for you guys every week. So attendance at these events really helps us support the league. So another cool thing we're doing with the golf outing this year is we're actually coinciding it with the All-Star game. Last year, our All-Star festivities were really, really good. We had about, what would you say, 26, 27 people out, maybe more? For the All-Star stuff.
Just about, with, all the participants in the Home Run Derby. And
right.
We're still looking into all those events and what's going to happen with that. But so I would expect, with that being said, the golf outing is going to be a little bit earlier.
Yep.
Not at like noon. It's probably going to be up at like 10. But I mean, that way you can kind of get whatever you want done. And I mean, we can even just bring it back, grill out for the All-Star game. So it'll be a fun day for everyone. So
yeah. So again, to reiterate, August 11 is going to be that day. So mark that. That's a Saturday in your calendars.
Mark the calendar.
Mark it, please, because this is going to be like the big day to finish out the year.
Yeah.
So we'll have the golf outing, and then we'll finish the day with the All-Star game. We think that doing those two on the same day also is going to boost attendance. So
yeah. So next thing we're going to talk about is our tournament that we've been putting on. So last time you heard us, last couple times we've been talking about this, talking about the dates, talking about the stuff for it, but it's really come down to some tournaments that were, put on the same days and stuff like that. So we've decided to put it on the 27th and 28th of July. Mm-hmm. So that'll be a couple weeks before the golf outing. So right at the end of July there.
Yep.
Sign-up sheet will be coming out soon. We're going to get a flyer working on hopefully tonight and get it out within the next couple days. I'm hoping this show comes out either the night it's being recorded or the night after. So,
yep.
So you should be hearing that soon. Non-Leroy players sign up in pairs, and that's how you'll be drafted onto teams. Yep. It'll be $40 a team, $20 a pair. So if you sign up, you'll pay the $20 whether you're from Griffleball, Orville, wherever.
Right.
If you want to come down from Indy Southside, hey, we'd welcome you.
We'd love you to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then so the tournament format and stuff, we've been playing around with it. Probably be like, round robin that day, and then like a little in the afternoon would be the elimination bracket. So we're still figuring that all out and how the draft event is going to go. For the most part, we know we're gonna pick a random order, and then those people pick. So
yep,
it'll be a fun event. So
yep, it's gonna
we've
be
got
really
all
good,
those kind of nailed down. So next thing I want to talk about. So we're gonna break this. This is the big part here of the first half. We're going to talk about a little bit about Tim's article. So I'm going to talk about the Griffle ball part of it. If you haven't read it, go check it out. Go check out our Twitter or the website, LeroyWiffle.com. So we have made a Griffle ball team. It's called the Leroy Legends. And that team's going to consist of the commissioner himself, Tim. Then we got the Detmar brothers, the Youngman brothers, and yours truly. So some brothers and then Tim and Greg, the Misfits there. So it'll be fun. The schedules are all on Griffle Balls, so go check out their Twitter, please. They have a lot of good stuff going on. We're going to be playing at Bridges Scoreboard in Griffith.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah, it should be nice. They get a lot of people out there that really enjoy it. So Griffle Ball, we're looking to kind of make that relationship good, and I think they've shown an interest in us, and we obviously have an interest in them. So, looking forward to that. I mean, there's a lot of great guys over there.
Right. I
personally know Jim Tucker from high school. Okay. Actually, he helped me through. We were like in this fall league, and he kind of helped out. So it was always cool to have him around. But
yeah,
Tuck's a great guy. I'm looking forward to getting to know some of these other guys. They are really cool. So. Yeah. That was the Griffle ball half. So, Caleb, I'm going to let you talk about the other half of that article.
Yeah, it's blown up a little bit today, huh? What'd you say?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Twitter's been a little crazy about it.
I told Caleb, I said, I was just sitting in my friend's place last night, and we were, I was at their church or something, and I see that Tim posts this thing to our chat, and I was like, oh, no. And I read it. I'm like, oh, no. Yeah. This is going to be
It's gonna stir the pot.
This is a bombshell, yeah.
So immediately when you see it coming from as the commissioner from Leroy, right? You think, oh well, XYZ is going on to Tim. Everything Tim does is for a reason, right? He has a purpose behind what he does, and the thing that me and Tim have talked about, and I truly believe is first before anything. We as Leroy owe so much to the NWLA, right? I mean, for 2 years we weren't a part of it, but then when we went to that tournament, that's when we started to gain that publicity. We got our name out there. We started to take a lot of what we did more seriously, and you ask, Tim, me, anyone that's been a part of those national teams, and the tournament's always a highlight of the year. So that to say that, the tournament or, things that Leroy doesn't want to be a part of the NWLA, the tournament, it's just not true. The purpose behind the article and, the underlying theme that I think Tim wants to see is Tim wants to get the conversation started. I think a big issue with this tournament and it moving forward and just the concept of it in the future is that, Tim and when people talked about Leroy with some of the rules that were made, like the rat rule and the stuff like that, I think Tim wants, this tournament to be a players tournament. He wants, what the general population, what the majority of Wifflers desire to be the guidelines that the tournament committee follows. And, it wasn't that me, Brett, Eric, Jared didn't want to come play in the NWLA tournament, but the majority of our league, playing the hybrid style and having Orable around, has played slow pitch, and going to spend that kind of money to go to that tournament wasn't feasible for us. And Tim wasn't saying that the tournament style right now isn't, good for a group of people, but I think it was more him trying to emphasize and show that it does isolate a group of people as well. And I think that's the main theme that Tim wants to address, and I think is being addressed by the tournament committee with having this phone call on Monday. I think that's going to be really helpful. And the tournament committee's done a phenomenal job for what they were thrown. I mean, when Chris Galloway leaves, what are you supposed to do with that kind of money?
Losing that, it was a big part of the tournament. And I mean, I only went last year, but I just knew from talking with you and other people that that's just kind of what it was.
Right. Yeah. And there's no way that you can rebound and be at the same level as losing someone like Galloway. But creating the death bracket and have it moved to Morenci, I think the tournament committee did a phenomenal job. But I think something that's passionate for me and Tim is the player's voice. And so many of the leagues that we see right now, don't play this style for a tournament. And I think that playing this style, how it originally was, caters to a certain group of people, but I don't think it caters to the majority. Yeah. And I think the big thing that Tim and I want to see as we move forward and want to be advocates for is making this tournament about the majority of the people. And that's what we and Leroy have done. We've sacrificed competition. We've sacrificed dominance. And you look at what we've done as a league for being a players league, and everyone that plays in our league loves it because of that aspect. And so I think was the purpose behind Tim's article. The points that he brought up were valid about priorities and other things, but that's going to be the big thing is making sure everyone's voice is heard, being a part of the process, being a part of the change. And that's something too, I want to see this tournament grow. This tournament has a special place in my heart, and I want to be a part of it. And that's kind of why, I'd love to get the conversation started as well, because it does kind of suck for me not being able to go play this year when, I literally did do everything I could and talked with guys in our league to see if they would want to go. And I understand the committee's decision to not form super teams. I understand that, my talent level and Brett's talent level would change Griffle ball. But again, if it's focused on leagues, right, and not just about forming a super team, I don't care if the conditions for me to have to go play would be more. Is it 10 games? If it's 15 games? If I need to play 10 games to go play in the NWLA tournament for Griffle ball, I would. If you want to make it about the league. So I think these are all topics that can be discussed. I think Tim, in his article, did a good job of pointing out the flaws, but I think another part of Tim that people don't see behind the scenes is that he wants to start that conversation and be a part of the process of change. So I think it was a well-written article, and I think the thing that's going to be important going forward is how we respond to it. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of talk on Twitter and stuff today with, responding to Tim, a lot of it like negative, right, from the committee, from other people, and I think that's not fair to him as well. I know he kind of came off as, kind of attacking, but I don't think that was his intention, was to attack the people there. And he even said it, the tournament's done a lot with what they've been handed and the death bracket and moving to Morenci and having it as like a big thing. Like everyone in that town knew, oh yeah, this is going on. And it was kind of a big spectacle, and I like that. But, yeah, at the end of the day, it's like the style for me. I didn't play, but just watching it wasn't like the best. I mean, I loved rooting on, my friends, but at the end of the day, it was just WSEM's won, 3 of the 5 now?
Yep.
5 or 6 that they've had.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, but, I mean, it's just going to be Farkas every year unless somebody gets a hit off of him or it, like, somehow it works out that, the right team beats him when Farkas is not pitching.
And I think the conversation that has to be had is you don't want to penalize someone for being really good, but you also don't want to isolate a group of people that can't compete with
and
that.
To me right now, it's a definite advantage for the pitchers. The pitchers, if you are a good pitcher, you will do well at this tournament, and that's why we've been able to do well because we've had you and Brett are good pitchers. But is it on a level of,
Farkas? No.
Farkas or some of these?
Not.
I mean, and there's other. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of other great talent for pitchers. I mean, LaValle is very good for AWAA, but like there's Loftus. Yeah, I think he's probably right there with Farkas if he's healthy. Mm-hmm. But that besides the point. But there's great talent, but I think it's just not. And I mentioned this to you earlier. I think you see the excitement for like the home run derby,
right?
Like that was an exciting thing this year. Like you had people in the 20s in like what was it, 2 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean that's crazy, and like it was between Sheriff and what was his name? Flockney.
Flackney.
Yeah. And that was an exciting time, but just people love to see that. But otherwise, when you go to the tournament, it's like, oh, strikeout.
Well, and I think,
and that's just my personal. I'm not talking for Tim or anyone else, but that's just my personal from what I saw last year, and I think that's and I'm not saying that I didn't mind that style at times, but I think that's what drove a lot of people away too.
Right.
From our league was a lot of people had that stress, that thought. A lot of good players in our league were like, I can handle a fast pitch now and then, and but every time if it's doing all this crazy stuff and I'm just striking out every time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Jack played college baseball and he was probably, honestly, one of the worst hitters we had, and he admitted it. It's just like, he couldn't hit it.
Right.
I mean,
right. Like I said, as the tournament grows, like I want to see this tournament thrive and become better. But it has to be able to cater and changing to medium pitch, medium speed, or even doing the Leroy style wouldn't penalize those top teams. I mean,
no.
If we played Leroy style, Farkas would still
dominate. Still strike out the majority of the people because he doesn't walk anyone.
He wouldn't walk anyone, and
he walks maybe one person a game,
right? If that, maybe 2 or 3. But my point is, and you look at Orable, right, and slow pitch. There's a reason why slow pitch is so exciting every time the bat's put on the ball. I mean, when you go to a tournament like that with the way the field is, you want to hit. So I'm not saying that I know the complete solution.
No.
But I'm also not just going to complain and not want to be part of the process to solve it.
Yeah.
So Tim, I believe, is going to be going on Monday night. I'd like to be on that call as well. But I think Tim's going to go on to represent Leroy. So I'm going to give him my thoughts as well and be a part of that process with that tournament committee if, I can be a part with Tim. So that's the big thing as well. And I agree with Tompkins as well with some of the stuff he said. It is very easy to see something you don't like and get upset about it and verbalize your opinion. But if you're not doing anything to be a part of the solution, then you're just as bad. So I think that's going to be the big thing. Are there flaws with the NWLA tournament? Yes. Are there things that should not be going on with how they're doing certain rules changes? I think so. But those can be discussed. Those things can be talked about. And if you're not part of the process, then you're not making.
And we're not saying that we're stepping back. That's what we're saying is Tim and Caleb are going to be there trying to work out a way to make it a little bit better for players. And hopefully, we can come back if we have it. If it's a little bit different, we don't, like we said, we don't know the solution. Is it playing medium pitch? Is it, and Tompkins made a great point. Is like it's 50-50, between fast, medium, and slow.
Right.
So, but that's
it's a lot to put into one short little segment. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more talk about it. Just wanted to get that out there about.
And
where
Tim will
Leroy
have
was
his
at.
own kind of thing. I think he wanted us to mention it, but not go into depth as much because he probably will have it for his show too. So,
Yep.
yeah. So anyway, I think it's
good to leave it there.
So,
Yep.
So anyway, so before we take a break, we're just going to talk about a couple things happening in Leroy going on. As you know, we're getting ready for the season. Sam and Jared, our grounds crew, have been working really, really hard. They've made benches for all the things. They're making all the nets for behind the backboards and stuff like that. They're redoing the backboards and making sure they're stable and ready for the year. Events, we've already kind of talked about those. We're going to keep working on those, getting more information out as soon as we can and you'll find those on our, we are on heavy on Twitter and Facebook, so look for us there. If you want to talk about Tim with media.
Yeah, Tim's doing a lot of stuff with live streaming. I'm not going to spoil it all because he's going to come out with it, but I think Tim's going to do a really good job with being able to make everything live and accessible. So get ready for that. And we're getting close. I mean, people don't realize this, but we're less than 50 days out,
Oh, boy.
Right?
I'm getting excited, though.
I am too. So those are some of the summary things that we're doing. We're going to take a quick short break, and then we're going to be back to talk to the man who's going to lead the Liners.
Oh, here we go. Already just starting this
My
up.
main man, Haworth. We'll be back.
Okay. See you on the other side. And we're back. So we're going to get this started off the second half of the show. This year we're going to be doing some more spotlight on certain players in our league. Last month we had on Sheriff. That was interesting to say the least. So this month we got a little bit more calmed down, I think, than Sheriff, but very interesting nonetheless. So we're going to bring on James Haworth. Caleb, would you like to introduce your teammate?
The kid knows what he's doing, okay? He's appeared in 6 games, 6.75 ERA. Is he a righty? Is he a lefty?
Who knows?
Who knows? He might be both. We're going to talk about it today. James, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. How's it going with you guys? Thanks for having me on.
It's good. It's good. We're excited to have you on today. So before we get started with anything, we got to know this. So why Wiffle Ball? How'd you find out about us? And what makes you want to come back this year?
So, why Wiffle Ball? Well, I played a lot of sports, college intramurals. I'm trying to move to something that's more low contact, and throughout middle school I played wiffle ball with some friends, so I decided to do that. Found out about the league through just a Google search, saw Leroy and said, alright, where's that? And got to the Facebook page, and that's how I started.
You found Leroy. I don't know how, but you did, and we're happy for it.
Tim did his job. So you got to Leroy. You saw it for the first time. You played a few games. What was your first impression?
Yeah, showing up the first time, I was a little afraid I'd miss it. And then as I was pulling up, I was like, all right, that has to be the complex. There's no way that could be anything else.
Bunch of goons swinging yellow bats.
So there was 3 people there when I pulled up. I believe it was you, Greg,
Yep,
Tim, and I think Jared was cutting one of the fields.
probably.
And I was like, is this the right place?
You were a little early that week,
Yeah,
James.
yeah. Well,
That's okay.
I wasn't sure where it was, so I
There you
just
go.
wanted to
You
make
want
sure
to be prepared.
got there.
That's good.
Yeah, it was interesting to take in. And you guys had the 5 fields, right? 5
Yep.
fields, and pulling up not knowing anybody was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Did
where
you find
should I
it
go?
from a new person experience? Did you find everyone in the league helpful in your first week there? Did you find them the rules and stuff, or did you feel welcomed, or did you still kind of just feel these guys got their own thing going?
Yeah, it really felt like they kind of had their own thing going on.
Okay.
I walked up. You were the first one to talk with me. You kind of went over the rules with me. I saw Tim. He came up talking with me. And Marty was nice enough to secure me a field to warm up on after I started warming up, and some people came over and just took my bucket of balls and started.
That was
throwing.
probably Caleb.
Oh, here we go.
That
I was gonna say that's
100% Caleb.
definitely sounds like something the someone from the Sluggers camp might pull
Okay.
at Eric. No, I'm joking.
So talking about last season, so what has you excited about this season now? So you're on a team,
Yeah.
3rd overall draft pick. So tell us what you're excited about this season.
Yeah, I'm on a team, so that's great. And first, hopefully, full season. So that way I can go out there and try to get as many of those accolades that I can in my opening year.
Nice. Shooting high, huh?
Oh, definitely.
So when you got drafted or whatever, 3rd overall pick, all this other stuff, people look at our team because of the low salaries and they think, oh, well, XYZ. Actually, they went a little further. They referenced our team as Caleb and the Street Cones. Street Cones, James. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I got my orange shirt. We're here.
He
We're
brought
ready.
the shirt. No joke, guys. He brought
Yeah.
the orange shirt to the pod.
We're ready. It's great. Best part about a street cone, easy to steal.
Oh, okay.
I
All
mean,
right.
It's overlooked.
Caleb loves it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm overlooked, and that makes it a lot easier on me, right? I'm the 3rd overall pick. Some people might feel pressure to go out there and perform. I have no pressure. Nobody really knows who I am. I was at the bowling event, and people were sitting there looking at me like, who's that kid? I had Sam Stahl come up to me and goes, hey. And I'm like, hey, Sam. And he looked at me and paused for a second. He's like, I don't know your name. I was like, it's okay.
Hey, I went up and talked to you. You gotta
Yeah,
talk to
you
James
gotta-
here. He's a fun guy.
I had you, Caleb, Tim, Brett, and Eric were.
Well,
Marty.
Caleb had decided by the time he got the 3rd pick, he was picking you. It was the least known secret in Leroy.
I had known for a while I was going to pick James when that time came. So, right. So you've talked about being on a team now, having no expectations, being excited to play.
So
This league doesn't have a ton of lefty pitchers. I mean, we were talking about this earlier today. We got Jack, who I'll leave that one. Kermit's going to be sipping some tea there.
ooh,
Kermit's going to be sipping some major tea for the
ooh,
truckers.
Caleb might have some inside info.
And then there's Tap Piece, but you're really the only other lefty. But again, is he? Talk to us, James. Righty, lefty. Where do you see yourself?
Yeah, so I came in last year, not really wanting to reveal too much right away. So I came out and I started throwing lefty, and people were complimenting me throwing lefty. So I just kept throwing lefty. I didn't want to come off too serious. And I'm actually a righty. So we did some batting practice and pitching today. So Caleb's seen it. So I think we're gonna stick with lefty right now, so that way I can be the most dominant lefty in the league. But who knows when I might have to pull out the righty. We'll see if we have to.
All right, we'll see if he pulls out some tricks. So, next question for you. What are some teams, players you want to face and why?
Teams and players. Well, players, Sheriff.
Oh,
Sheriff, he hit a moonshot off me last year.
don't feel bad. It was happening a lot, but
So,
yes,
I
please
mean,
explain.
That's one of the players that I want to get some payback
Oh,
on. We'll talk big for right now.
stirring
Some
that
of the
pot.
teams I want to play. I mean, the Clams is one of the feared teams in the league right now, so that'd be a good one to play. I don't really know. I'm excited really just to play. So teams in general,
Nice.
I enjoy the fact that this is more of it's a team game rather than hey, it's an ace.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go versus an ace. You get to actually verse everybody, so it's more of a cohesion thing rather than we got a star.
Definitely have to have a well-rounded team, and we've seen that in past years.
Right, and I think kind of something I want to know, too, and we've talked about this, but I think it'd be good for people here. You know, like you said, it's a balanced league, so usually the best team will win, and you need balance. Where do you see yourself fitting in on the team this year, and where do you see yourself making a big impact?
Well, for the Liners, I see myself as our number 2. Unfortunately, I would love to be the 3 guy, get a little more backup in here for the team, but I'll have to step in and fill in that role. I mean, I got no issues with it. I'm competitive, so I enjoy that aspect, but I mean, last year, Liners, a dominant team, essentially 4 first-round picks on that team if you include that they had, 2 owners and 2 people that went in the first round. Yep. So a team going from 4 first-rounders to a team that is now the cover girl of the league. And
he listens to podcasts.
Some street cones is going to be a big game changer for the team's look. But
he listens to Fireside, that's for sure. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a different look, but I'm really excited, especially with what I've seen so far and with what we're going to do. So one more question for you, and this doesn't even have to be related to the Liners team, but Leroy's an equal opportunity league. We always try and get people involved. Where's one area that you see yourself impacting the league or wanting to try and take your hand in this year to make the league better or potentially, build the brands of some of the teams?
Yeah, so recruiting is something that I'm kind of looking forward to. I've played intramurals in college, and a lot of my flag football teammates, I've reached out to them to try to get their support, see if they're going to come out. I'm not as vocal in that group as some of the other captains were. So I have 3 of the captains that are on the team, and they're going to make a push to get a lot of the members from the IUN, hopefully flag football team, to come out and at least give it a try. I know we had some people that played on the IUN baseball team that are supposed to be coming out as well.
Awesome. That's great to hear. We're always looking to get more people in the league. So, yeah, James, we want to thank you for coming out and being part of this interview. This was great to get to know you. And we're going to take a quick break before we get into the question bag, and then we also wrap up the show.
2 breaks?
2 breaks.
Can't power through?
Yeah, we can. Well, no, we can't.
Okay.
I just like the music in between. You put good tunes on there.
But YouTube now says we can't do it. So that's right. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. And we're back at it again for the third portion here. So we're going to real quick run through this. So it is time for the question bag portion of the show. So the first questions are we're going to take from our Twitter. Only a couple short questions here. Well, of course, Sheriff's always got about 10 questions for us. 2 Wiffle Dude says, when will Greg stop cornholing?
The answer is never.
And I put a reply, and it said war again. So apparently we're still at war with
2 Wiffle Dudes.
Carl. Let's be real. It's just Carl.
Carl, why do you hate us?
I don't know. I never was that mean to him. Hey, Tim's not on the show anymore. We can be friends.
You were mean to Carl, Greg.
No, I wasn't.
Yep.
Tim was mean to both of them.
Sad.
To start.
That's true.
Anyway, next up, there's talk that the Narwhals, this is from the Badgers account.
Okay.
There's talk that the Narwhals are planning to form a super team. Your thoughts?
Absolutely.
The Narwhals applied, oh, you betcha. So.
The Narwhals are going to ride out Kyle Jansma, and he's going to show up for 2 games.
You think that?
Bold statement.
He'll miss 2 games the whole season. That's a bold statement. He's hitting dingers.
In your language, absolutely not, Greg. Absolutely not.
Anyway, what are you looking forward to most in the 2018 season? Go ahead, Caleb. What are you looking forward to? From that interview, the traffic cones are sounding pretty good.
Am I talking about my team, or am I talking about
No, just
the
anything.
league?
Anything.
From my team perspective, I'm excited for the challenge that I have as an owner, but I also really, really like my team. I do. I mean, I'm not just giving that lip service. I really like my team, especially with what James and Justin are doing and have communicated. I really like my team. I'm really excited for the golf outing. I know we talked about it earlier. It's just going to be a really, really nice upgrade. I think the atmosphere, how we run it, and what people are going to get for $50, I think, is going to be a really, really good experience.
Yeah.
So I think those are my two main things.
For me, I think partially with me running, like being the head of the events, part of the board, I want to see all the events go well, including, I think our draft went well, and I think I want to keep that rolling with the tournament. That's going to be our big focus. We've got a little more time now, so we got a little more time to plan, but for me, that's one thing, and as personally, I just want to be an owner. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Just being an owner first time this year is going to be real exciting for me. I just want to get out there and play and just have my team, and if there's times where I think that I'm not good enough, I can kind of do that with the way the rules are set up this year, so it'll be an exciting year, so for sure. And Badgers, yet again, Sheriff would like to know when he can have his own segment on Going Corn. Answer, never.
When he wins the ship.
No, don't promise him that.
That's the answer.
No.
Yes, it is.
Because the answer is never.
Sheriff, you win a ship, and we'll give you a stock with Sheriff. How about that? He said he wants 5 minutes.
5 minutes to talk anything that comes to his brain. 5 minutes of that.
How scary is that?
He's going to talk for 1 minute straight and then be like, oh, how long was that? Oh, that was 1 minute? I got to talk for 4 more minutes? Oh, I can't do this.
And then he'll be done.
Or he'll just talk about some other nonsense.
He'll talk about something that pisses him off. He'll talk about the bugs or something.
Bugs up people's ass.
The bugs.
So, we have one. I think was it just one from our board chat question?
It's a good question.
That's a good question because Tim just hated this whole thing. Oh, so Matt asks, if you had to pick 4 Leroy players to make a Fortnite squad, who would you pick? So we're talking, you got to pick 4 people to play Fortnite on the PS4. Who would you pick?
I would go Matt Dykstra. I would go Brett Detmar, Jared, Sharif, and I would go Eric. That would be my 4.
See, I think I would go Austin and John because Austin was at one point like a top ranked player for Call of Duty.
That's true.
So, or was it Austin or John?
It was Austin.
Austin, yeah. So, but both of those guys though.
Yeah.
So I'd have to go with them, and then I've played with Sheriff. He did not help me out that much. I know I'm a bad player, but we died in like the first 2 minutes of every game we played, except for one, and we played like 5 games together.
Wow.
So, Sheriff, sorry, not making the list.
Who are the other 2?
I'll say Matt.
Okay.
And if I had to pick one of the brothers, see, that's the thing. I've never seen them like post a whole lot about it. Okay. So I would say Brett. Just
okay. Throwing that out there.
That's kind of a throw up, but
all right. So 2 questions from some Griffle Ball guys. Appreciate it. Jim Tucker and Ryan Vogus. The first one, we'll take Tuck's question. As a team in the GBL, what do you guys expect your strengths and weaknesses to be in such a different style of play?
I think the pitching will be good. The pitching can play anywhere, I think. You've already shown that.
Yep.
I think Brett's will be a little bit different, but the thing is, as long as he can throw it straight, because the ball's not going to go up as much, but if he throws it kind of straight down at the bottom of the zone with his velocity, I don't think anyone's going to. I think the hitting's definitely going to be one of those things we have to adjust to because it is just a straight, fast pitch.
Yep.
I love not having to run the bases. That's the best part about this whole league.
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
no running for Jeezy on the base paths here.
Right. That'll be nice. Yeah, I think for us, a big strength will just be our depth. I mean, when me, Brett, Eric, and Jared are there, we have 4 options to go to keep arms fresh. I don't think our weakness will be making contact. I think it'll be putting the ball over the fence. So I think we'll win a lot of close games. We'll pitch well, but we're going to need to get some major run production. The second question from Ryan Vogus. What are your expectations for your GBL team going into its first year? Who do you believe your breakout player will be that's not named? Caleb Youngman.
Oh, that's a shocker. Why would anyone want to exclude you?
I don't know. For me, I think we can be...
How many teams are there?
7.
7
including
teams.
us. I think we can be third. I think I expect to be third. I think Taka and Gas also be better than us. And I think if we hit our stride and figure out the speed and the swing, I think we can potentially knock one of those 2 off in the playoffs if me and Brad are pitching well and we can hit. Our breakout player...
This guy right here, sitting on the mic.
My breakout player... I think Eric could be decent. Him or Jared, I would say.
Obviously, it's between those two. I think Brett, I don't think, is going to be much of a breakout because I think if you've seen him, you know him. Right. It's not like a breaking out. Oh, yeah, you know.
I would say the breakout player will be whoever hits better between Eric and pitches better. If Eric hits better than Jared pitches, I think Eric's the breakout player. But if Jared throws better than Eric hits, then I think that's my expectation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting take.
What's your take then?
Oh, I just told you.
I don't remember.
The breakout player.
Who?
I already said. Who'd you hear me say?
Oh my Lord. You gonna throw some innings for us?
Oh yeah. I'm the closer.
Throwing straight
Call me
cheddar.
a Raldist.
Cheddar.
Call me a Raldist.
Cheddar.
No,
you're gonna get a lot of
agree
at-bats.
with you. I'd agree with you though. It'd be probably Jared or Eric, honestly, if we're talking. I mean, like I said, Brett's not a real surprise to me. I think Tim will be okay, but he's got a lot going on. You know, he might kind of just want to chill some days. So
right.
And we are attached to a bar.
True.
So
true. Well, there you go.
We'll see if I'm, indulging in some Yingling.
Indulging.
So is that it for the question bag?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So to wrap things up, we're going to have a flyer coming out soon that's going to give you all the dates and relevant information.
Please sign up soon, as soon as it comes out.
Yes. We don't put this flyer out just to, have something fancy. We need you guys to reserve these dates. So when you tune into this podcast and you hear about it, please reserve those dates. These are big days for the league. We put a lot of time and energy into this. It keeps costs down. It allows us to have fun every Wednesday night.
And just sign up so we're not going nuts thinking that we don't either have enough people, because that's the thing with the draft. We had people, oh yeah, we're coming to bowling, but then it's like, oh well, the list was so short,
right,
up until the last couple days, and then we had a bigger number than we had last year. So it's nerve-wracking, but it also helps us, especially with the golf outing, and you have to sign up for the tournament if you want to play.
Right.
But
first 24 spots from Leroy get into the tournament. So the flyer will be out. We'll have all the dates. Sign up for stuff. Reserve July 27 and 28, and then August 11. Those will be the major dates. If you don't have anything else, I don't have anything else.
I think that is it. So that's going to do it from us at Going Corn. We'll see you next time.
See ya.